Right. So that accent is a reminder of how we were transitioning into speaking like English or like a different language or French or Spanish for the cases. So, you kind of like that because it's so funny because I hear a few like African people talk like from the continent. And when you speak English, you could have swear they're from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Because that accent, not all of them, but some of them in different countries, you could have swear, be like, oh, wait a minute, you're from the islands? They're like, no, you know what I mean? And they were born on the continent, but just the transformation for they speak in English, it makes them sound like they're from the Caribbean. You know what I mean? It's pretty interesting. It's really, really interesting.
It's a very, very similar dialect.
Right?
Yeah.
That reminds me. And plus, too, I get, especially when I used to live in New York a while, a lot of girls is like, oh my God, I love his accent. I mean, they love the Caribbean accent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do too. And also, like, just think about it. If we all sounded the same when we spoke English, we would sound so monotone, just like them. Their voices, they're just boring. Like, do you ever pay attention to that? Like, if they're on the news and all of them sound the same, like they're just so monotone and plain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we have more culture. We have a vibe when we speak. So the Caribbean accent, I mean, that just thinks,
rhythm,
it makes you feel like.
Yeah, we mix it up. We have slangs. I mean, when you look, for example, when you look at, our culture, like specifically, coming from the Caribbean and Jamaica's known for that. They have a whole other language. They speak like patois.
Yeah,
so it's like English, but right? But it's like. It's like English, like they use certain words and phrases that, like wagwan, like what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like wagwan. Like you know what I mean? So it's like almost like, it's funny because, I mean, even, when I'm around some Caribbean people and we are around white people, if we could get deep into the patois, but white people don't really know what's going on.
Talking about, yeah. And I like that because in a way it's like, okay, your native tongue has been stripped from you, but you still have that you can revert back to. You know what I'm saying? At least you still have that.
Yeah.
See, and us, the people like me, what are we going to revert to? We don't have anything. We have what they told us. We have English, like you said, this bastardized language that has been forced into us. They stripped and raped us of our mother tongue, And when you rape a person of their mother language, of their tongue, you take away so much from them. And I don't think people understand the ramifications of that. Like all the Hispanics, they still can speak Spanish. They can speak their native language. We're the only ones that's been forced into this language. And I was just telling somebody this not too long ago. I said, you know how you can tell that this is not our native tongue? You know how you can tell? Because a lot of people do not speak proper English. When you really think about it, a lot of melanated people speak a lot of slang. They chop their words. They just have different phrases.
You know what? I never look at it that way. That's pretty interesting. What you just said there, right? That's pretty interesting. I never look at it that way because your mother tongue is something that you should be able to be, you're like, if this is a language that was passed down to generation, you should be able to speak it properly. That's
freely, and you shouldn't.
That's really smart.
And you shouldn't have to.
I never even look at it that way.
And you shouldn't have to think about it so hard. Like, okay, so if we say, what are you looking at me for? Okay, that's already improper English because they tell us that we should not end any sentence with a prepositional phrase. So you shouldn't say, where are you going to? Because you're ending that sentence with a prepositional phrase. To, up, above, below, around, all of that is a prepositional phrase. But what do most people do? They end their sentence with a prepositional phrase. Because cognitively, you shouldn't have to think that hard about how to communicate. So that's already telling you somebody forced that language upon us. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of that goes on. So yeah, people do get judged by how they speak. But it is good to be able to articulate yourself very well, because that speaks volumes about you. People do judge you on how you communicate, but I'm saying as far as an accent, I like the Caribbean accent. I like the Jamaican accent. So I don't think that, maybe that is something that the European has instilled in people's minds, like, okay, it's not proper enough, because they speak totally different from us. Their voices are always high pitched. Like when you call into the call center, you talk to one of them. Oh, okay. Yes, my name is Mindy, and how are you? Like, if you notice, that's how they speak. They speak how they walk, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They walk different. They dance different. Their rhythm is totally different. And it's like, to me, we are born I feel like we're born on syncopated time. I think we're born in rhythmic time. Because explain to me why my nephews, all of them can dance, all of them have rhythm, and it wasn't taught to them.
Yeah, but it's also genetics too, because when you look at us genetically, we just have this, we just have that. We were born like in that kind of way. It doesn't take us that much to actually pick something up, because we are people of rhythm. And this is something that is coded in our DNA. Mm-hmm. We just have a rhythm. Everybody who you see have rhythm. It's a false rhythm. It's something they have to work on, or they have to copy us. Because remember, there are other copycats. White people, they copy everything, right? They're good at imitating shit.
Right.
You see, just like how they imitate and like to fool the world, like, being the criminals of the world, right?
Yeah.
They're very good in doing shit like that. Mm-hmm. So, but we naturally are who we are. And I think that's the reason why the world, the world don't like us for the cases, because everyone creates, offers something that isn't created already, which is us and our, and our creation in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that our people, we just put swag on so much stuff, whether it's our hair, the way we dress, the way we dance, the way we talk, the way we sing, just everything about us. You know what I mean? And so that can't be duplicated, because my personal opinion is we are the original copy, right? We are the original. They're coming through with carbon copies. So of course they're going to copy the original. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that ink is going to get a little bit more faded, a little bit more tainted. And, with that comes jealousy. You know that. And that's why they work so hard to make us feel bad about who we are. Such as you were saying, your accent. You know what I'm saying? Or, your hair. Because we have frizzy hair that is electrified and it stands up in the sun. Hey, we're children of the sun. So that's basically the sun kissing our skin. Our hair stands up because we're electric beings. A lot of people just can't duplicate that. So we are innately who we are.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny all the copying all these crackers and them do. But they can't copy good human behavior and how they treat each other. How come they never copy that? Right? They copy everything else, but they can't copy just being moral or having good moral judgment or a good humanitarian. They can't copy. For some reason, their DNA doesn't, go with copying something, that is conducive and good for the world.
Well, what they're doing is they're doing what's going to benefit them as far as having power. It's all about power and control. Mm-hmm. And so they know that it's a survival mode for them. They have to implement power and control for their survival. This is why we're under oppression the way we are. That's why they work so hard. I'm not going to say we're oppressed, but they try to keep us under oppression. They want to oppress us. You know what I'm saying? Because I also feel that oppression is also a way of thinking as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we are, and it's all we have to because yeah, remember we have to, in order to address something and to face it, we have to speak truth. Yeah, we mightn't be suppressed or oppressed physically, but when you're talking about financially and psychologically, yeah, we still are, and we have to realize that because that's the only way we could come to reality to actually face it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we are like financially, and economically, we are depressed in that. I mean, you can't sugarcoat that or put it any other kind of way because we are.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, but see, that goes back to what we said, remember, when we were talking about black business, because technically black people spend a lot of money. So are we really that financially oppressed, or do we just not use our resources that are most conducive for ourselves? Because we take so much of our...
Well, I think part of that is psychological because, you're absolutely right, and that's a good point. See, you're not only small and cute, but you're smart too as well. Right? That's a good point. That's a good point. Because I don't think like I know because Marcus Garvey had a quote he said when he was alive, and he said that we could change our condition within 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And it's so true because I mean, even when you look back at the Black Wall Street and you see that you had people who was just a community of just supporting themselves, and we didn't have no Oprah or no NBA or no NFL or all these black actors and rappers making money. Mm-hmm. These were regular black folks working hard, putting the money together, and they ended up having a black community with banks and mortgage firms and barbershop and car companies, bus companies, all kind of stuff. So this is $1 million question. How you could have people who had much less or access to much less, mm-hmm. but was able to create more of a community, but the people who have access to everything and wealth and drive fancy cars and all kind of stuff, how come we can do the Black Wall Street? So it's not about the money, because we don't already know that we have access to a lot more money than black folks from the early 20th century. Mm-hmm. But we're not doing the things we are supposed to. I mean, when black people could go out and spend, over $1 billion on a movie within like a couple of weeks.
Oh my God! Yeah, one of the ladies was telling me about that.
You don't have no kind of money. This company. Hold on a second. I think was it Gucci? I guess Gucci just announced that he is worth over $1 billion. How much you think that people like Floyd Mayweather, 50 Cent, T.I., Gucci Man, the rapper, Rick Ross, all these people, how much you think out of the $100 billion that Gucci can have, how much percentage you think that is contributed to the black community? Right, so I rest my case.
Well, okay. I want to add on to what you said. Two things I want to address. One is how is it that we had access to more right now, and then back then they did more with what they did more with less, basically, is what you're saying. I feel that comes from us being too comfortable right now with what's going on. We feel like now we can work white collar jobs, if you will, corporate jobs. If we can get a decent house in an okay neighborhood, drive a decent car, our kids have everything that they want and need, i.e. video games, Jordans, because, they like to prioritize those things. then we feel like we're living okay. You know, and that's the sad way to be, because we don't own anything. So that's why we're doing less with more, because the priorities are all messed up. That goes back to the mindset, like you were saying. Back then, people were more, I think they were more communal. They were not individualistic in their thinking. They had a common goal, a common interest.
But also, you have to remember, this was a bunch of people didn't have no choice, because remember, those crackers didn't want to deal with it.
Exactly.
So we had choice. So we had to create something.
Right.
So when integration came in the 60s, these crackers promised, oh yeah, don't worry, I'm going to treat you right, and I'm going to live up to what I think in law and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And you had a lot of black folks, rightfully so. I can't be mad at them. I can't, because at the time of the climate, understand, they fall for something and say, okay, if you let us have this, then everything will be okay. We can live in harmony, kumbaya, case closed. But we know that never happened. But we end up giving up what we did have to integrate. And now, since we integrate, now things like no one don't feel a black people. We don't feel we have this togetherness no more, because it definitely separates us and damage us as a people. And we all talk about this, because integration was the fucking worst thing that ever happened to us, because not only we give up what we had, but now we end up supporting people that still fucking killing us. Still have us financially subordinated, right? So you get like a double whammy in that sense. Because remember, we had like the Urban League, and we had all these different things. We had all kind of black businesses and all kind of stuff that sustained us. And we then said, hey, we gave all that up, and we go live in a white neighborhood and everything will be okay, right? But look at how that does.
Yeah, you make a good point with that.
So it's the mindset of people. We just think that, and for some reason, right, and we touched on it the last time we spoke, that for some reason, black folks are screwed up face trying to spend money with their own people, but still need to go into like a white store and give money, or a Korean or Chinese store. Why these people are them treating you bad? Why do you want to fucking talk to you? But anytime as a black person, oh God, so you didn't have, oh man, I ain't coming back no more. You find any little fault, shit, yo, you didn't have a mat in front of the door. What kind of shit is this? What kind of business is this? Any little thing, just to have a rift with someone who looks just like you. And that's the fucking fact. Like, we don't understand. But if we didn't have no choice, then you would deal with it. You would say, hey, you get a man like a white man people when I come in and blah blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you'll find ways around to deal with your people. But since we've been so psychological damage over cases, we look for anything to fight with those people. Any other thing.
Yeah. Also, like what you were saying about the rappers, like Rick Ross and all of them, T.I., people that drop hundreds of $1,000s in the Gucci store. I personally feel like, yeah, they probably have contributed probably some millions to the Gucci place. But in comparison to like the rest of the world, that's probably a small dent for Gucci to make him a billionaire,
No, but listen to what I'm saying is though. They are the ones who's weighing the shit, and they can afford it.
Right.
But how many people who live on a low income, who's going and buy a purse for $1,000? We know a lot of ghetto, fabulous people who's doing that. So they are contributing to that. I'm not saying they're the rappers, but you gotta remember that other people living in the ghetto fabulous life, they want to be the rappers too. Yo, I have a Gucci belt. Well, I will work hard and try to get
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy though.
In the cases. So, and think about all these millions of people around America, around the world who's trying to do that, black people. So, think about that for a second.
I refuse to think about it, because I would hope they wouldn't do nothing. something so crazy and outlandish. I mean, if you're living in the ghetto, your priority should be not a Gucci bag. I tell you that, because I bet you Gucci's not living in the ghetto. You think for 1 second these people that own Gucci would even come into a black-owned store and support anything? And they're living in the slums? You got to be out your mind. No, that's crazy. That's insanity.
And also, you have to keep in mind too, because it's not just one thing. We really have to dig deep in and find out the psychology behind it. Because I remember, right? Especially you being American specifically, we have been so destroyed as a people that when we always were trying to attain something, it was always taken away from us. And when you know the history of America, including Black Wall Street, so this notion of having something for now, it sets to the psyche of our people, because they're like, shit, I don't have really much, I'm poor or whatever, or I live in this condition, so I might as well fucking ball out while I can, because I don't know how long this shit's gonna last.
Right. Oh my goodness.
When you have a culture of a people who have been going through this psychologically, that's what mess with them, because everything we try to build, and we could go on the history now, and you know the history on that, it's always been destroyed. So, hey, let me enjoy my BMW living in my apartment right now. Let me enjoy my $1,000 Gucci belt right now, okay? Because and it just become a habit. I mean, I'm sure where you live, I mean, you could contest to this. I mean, when I go to New York, swear these kids going to like a fashion show. Kids, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
kids.
Yeah, definitely.
You have people living in projects, dressing their kids from Jordan down and this and name brand stuff.
Right.
I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I mean, you're going to fucking learn, and you go to school with a 200 pair of fucking shoes. Like, really?
Yeah.
But this is a mindset of our people. How do you break down mindset? How do you break down mindset of people, right? How do you tell them what? You think you would tell a woman, for kids or cases, and yeah, she's short, man. Hey, but you know what though? But she don't want to make the whole community look like, she's struggling or kids are struggling. So she has to do things accordingly to make sure that's not a perception. Other people see it when they see her, right?
Oh, I get what you're saying. So, it was a fashion show back when I was.
We want to look rich, but right? We want to look rich, but we're not. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But looking at it is better than you actually being rich.
Right. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's all in everything. Really, everything is all based on perception and illusions. But if you're basically not even living in reality in this world, because like you said, you want to look like you're not financially struggling, but usually the ones that are dressing like that, you can tell where their priorities lie. Their priorities lie in their clothes, which holds no value. A lot of Caucasians that have money, they don't even dress like that for real. They dress down. They like to blend in with people. You wouldn't even know that they have money. And guess what? They don't have all these different tennis shoes either. Like, their closet is not full of 300 different shoes.
Yeah, but I'm sure. But also, you see, and we have to make sure we're very careful because we can never compare white people in the way how we get brought up, because they have a different mindset than us. We are psychologically damaged. And, it's kind of unfair because, I saw something a couple of days ago, and it's pretty interesting. And it has, it shows you a picture of. Hold on a second, hold on.
Okay. Oh, yeah, no problem.
Huh?
I said no problem.
Yeah. So it have a picture of, it's showing you an image of, of like the earth, right? Like a ground. And below where the roots is, it branching out to tell you, it show you slavery, lynching, Jim Crow, black codes, in all these things that we come from, and then just and above, you show you that the tree, they show you a little tree is growing out of the ground, and how we are perceived just based on the tree. But no one don't see where the tree or how it's being fruit or what the fruit is bearing. No one is seeing how that fruit or where the seed of all this shit came from. So it was a pretty good analogy on the way how we are looked upon right now, but I mean, especially this character, they just want to ignore everything else on how we get here. They just deal with, okay, yeah, these niggas and them is crazy. These niggas them killing themselves. Yeah, but what was the reason behind that? No, right? I mean, and a lot of people run away from that, especially white folks, because now once we dealing with that, we have to deal with who was doing this stuff, where it came from. Right? And that's the elephant in the room right there. So they rather than deal with it right now. Yeah. Right? Last time I checked, Chicago back from the early 20th century up until the fucking 50s and 60s, who was the demographic of people who were fucking killing themselves at a high rate? It wasn't us. You know what I mean? It was Italians. But Italians never seemed like, you know what I mean? Well, there was the
thugs. They're in the mafia. I said they're in the mafia.
Exactly. And you notice that being Italian and have all that gangster shit, from Lucky Luciano, from Carlos Bandino, Abino to John Gotti. Have you noticed how white supremacy kind of glorified that and made that into like a cool shit?
Yeah, they
like,
do.
Black people with Scarface, the world is yours fucking pictures all over black people.
Yeah, they do.
It's almost like a glorified thing. I mean, it's almost like, oh my God, they're telling them, they're glorified instead of saying, yo, these are some fucking thugs and criminals. But it's all depending on how they market this shit to make it feel like, ooh, it's such a kind of thing. Nobody, the Italians and them, they don't get the myth. But we now, based on our conditions, have it's certain things that hinder our community, we look at it as like some of the earth.
Yeah. But don't you think that I mean, black people do that too in their movies when they have these gangster movies?
Not as much. I mean, yeah, you have the black export, the black export, black exploitation movies over cases or so. Exploitation movies over cases.
Yeah.
But no, not in the sense of that, because I mean, once you have the white media ahead, right, we can never glorify in that. We have like Boys in the Herds and Menace to Society and all kind of stuff, right? But you have to remember, it was never sold in that sense that, it's a good thing. Anytime you're being taken in the media is, oh yeah, look at these stars, look at these people in the ghetto. But what I'm saying is, Italians never get that same sentiment in the way how we get it. And they were killing each other with the cases.
Yeah. Well, you know, propaganda has been their number one weapon against the entire world. Is to always defame the black man, make him look like he is less than everyone else. That's always been the weapon of choice. Is media, movies, videos, news, newspapers, everything.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Hey, Malcolm X talk about it. So Malcolm X said, the media can make an innocent man guilty and a guilty and a guilty man say they're innocent. And you have to remember, go back and track a little history there for a second. The New York, before it was called New York, it was called New Amsterdam. And you had some people who they came to New Amsterdam because New York was the place that black people settled. Especially when we want to talk about Central Park, we know it was actually called Senecal Village, and that was the first set of settlement. So you had a lot of black people and prominent black people who were living in New York before this cracker came about, before all Italians and and Irish and all that kind of stuff. And when it was New Amsterdam, right before it turned, because that was a Dutch, right? They turned it into a Dutch colony like New York, right? You remember, we had a period of time where these Dutch people was fucking running amok and killing each other like you wouldn't even believe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, right? Go look it up. There's something called the 5 Points. There's something called the 5 Points of New York, where the crime rate of these fucking Dutch fucking people was crazy. It made the Italians and them look like Pee Wee Herman friggin' Playhouse.
Oh, wow. The 5 Points of New York.
No, because when those crackers and them get fresh, we need to draw back and say, hey, all of the second new criminals, you guys even know what you guys been doing, right? So that's why history is so important that we know this. Right? We know how they used to misbehave. When you look at the movies, the gangs of New York, what do you think that's based on? Yeah, that's based on the Italians coming here in the turn of the century and figuring, like, you know what I mean? They're running amok straight. But what I'm saying is, though, the same stigma we get from, the position we are put in, or was put in order, and us kill each other and have beef with each other. Italians and them, the Dutch people, the Irish, these people and them never get the same stigma. And they have destroyed and killed themselves more than anybody else on a fucking straight, where the case is based on their history, of their people.
Yeah, you're right. History is so important.
Right? I mean, like, Al Capone was running a fucking muck in fucking Chicago. People forget that? Huh? People forget that, huh? People forget those things, huh?
See, I'm not well versed on the history of Chicago, so you're telling me some stuff I didn't know about.
Yeah, go look up New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam, what we're thinking. And the 5 points. I think it's called the 5 point.
History of the 5 Points. I'm looking it up now, actually.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the 5 point something, I forgot. I was just reading upon that like a few months ago with cases. Yeah, and see how violent these fucking people in them was, man. So yeah, we need to, one thing with this cracker, when coming to his history, all of a sudden, they have them in amnesia for some reason. They just keep fucking forgetting everything.
Right.
But when coming to us, they're quick to call us out on some shit we doing. But when coming for them, oh no, all of a sudden, they don't know that history.
Wow. All right. So I'm going to read to you what I'm showing. You let me know if this sounds familiar. It said, in the 20th century, the 5 Points gang recruited members from the toughest gangs in the city. 5 Points mobsters included Paul Kelly, Giovanni, aka Johnny Torrio, Frankie Yale, Charles Lucky Luciano, and Al Capone. It says Capone received his nickname Scarface from a knife fight at the Harvard Inn nearby the former locale of 5 Points. When Capone was finally convicted for tax evasion in 1931, he was quoted in newspapers saying, "I should have never left 5 Points," meaning his New York gang of that name. So yeah, and that was back in the was that in the 1800s when this started going down? Yeah, because
yeah, that was before that. Like I said, the 5 Points of New Amsterdam, it started in the 1700s.
Oh, okay. So this article only refers to the 1800s.
Yeah. Right. So we are talking about, right? Like I said, we are talking about when New York was called New Amsterdam.
Now look, this, and I'm just only putting this into perspective because the article mentioned that Al Capone was convicted for tax evasion in 1931. My grandmother was born in 1939. That's not that long ago. She's still with us today. So when you really go back, okay, that's me, my mother, my grandmother. So that's 3 generations ago when he was convicted for tax evasion. Then if you want to go back to the 1800s, then the 1700s, that's during Willie Lynch time. That's Virginia right there, right? Jamestown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that for some reason, and I tell people, like, even, people got to remember when we look at the Jim Crow, for example.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was a teenager, over cases, coming into adult at that age. So it's not too far. It's not too long.
It's
like people
not.
How? What's that?
It's not that long ago. It really is not.
Right. That's a generation of people being subordinated in the most, like, you know what I mean? The most humiliating thing on earth, whatever cases. I mean, it's not too long ago because, like I say, we there's a stigma behind our oppression and our generation that we supposed to, that's like our suffering or what happened such a long time ago. So it really doesn't matter. It doesn't count in the way how we are acting right now. Right? It doesn't have no ramification in the way how we acting like that. We just wake up one day and just start acting crazy for no reason.
Right.
This is white folks' psychology for black people. Hey man, come on man. If you guys come playing for you guys get to play ball and all kind of stuff. You guys get to do this,
Let me tell you how this still resonates, because it says Jim Crow laws were state and local laws that enforced racial segregation in the southern United States. All were enacted in the late 19th and early 20th centuries by white Democratic-dominated state legislators after the Reconstruction period. The laws were enforced up until 1965. Don't you know, my mother was born in 62. She can remember when she was still going to a racially segregated school in the 4th grade. That is not that long ago.
Yeah, your mom know about Brown versus Board. I mean, that was the biggest thing. I mean, the desegregation of schools over cases, right. And it's still like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was the biggest thing about that.
Yeah, and she was saying how, once they integrated, that's when they started showing all those slave movies. That's where they was teaching them that they came from slaves. That's their history.
And it's so funny. It's so funny. For the past few days, I mean, I was watching a few movies from back in the days. Actually, I'm cutting some customers, so they kind of, hear what we're saying. So, I hope you don't mind, because I didn't have my headset.
No, it's fine. I hear them in the background. Tell them I said hi.
Yeah. No, but I had to cut. So, but anyway, I was watching a couple movies. I watched one called The River Now with James Earl Jones over cases, pretty kind of thing. And I saw one. I was watching one yesterday, pretty interesting, and it's called Follow the North Star. And it deals with Henry Tubman, whoever cases. I think when the movie was made, I think in like the mid 70s. And this is the reason why we have to tell our story, because they make Harriet Tubman, they have her, they have white people in the movie like they are the sweetest thing.
Really?
How it happened, of course, then you have the bigot, you have, the person who's kind of stuff, but the contrast it with white people just being so nice, and they was they was part of the underground river, and they was helping. So you see, look, hey, not all white people is that bad, because look, we helping. So the movie kind of portraying that perception. I'm like, look at this bullshit here, bro. Look at this shit, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, man. Yo, y'all white people going out of the way, bro. They try to emphasize that as much as they can.
Yeah.
They're going out of the way. So basically what they're saying, yo, it's not a struggle. We didn't really do all this ourselves because good white folks came to their senses. They had an epiphany, and hey, they were helping us. Good white folks. Wow. So you can't be mad at all white people.
I mean, it's not, and I think people get things misconstrued. It's not having hatred towards white people. It's not we're mad at all white people. It's that they will never understand what it's like to be born melanated. Point blank, period. I don't care. Because it will never be the same experience at all. I don't care how you look at it. They can marry one of us. They can be born into the family. It doesn't matter. Like, you really have to live this life to understand exactly what we're saying.
But they don't understand, and that's going back to what we were talking about with you have a couple of Negroes on the panel there when you're talking, saying, okay, we need to change white lives.
Okay, so tell me about John Brown, because I haven't heard about him.
Right? So John Brown was white man, this abolitionist, who was against slavery. But this they don't tell you, because you see, they give you the story, but they don't emphasize on the story to tell you what's up. John Brown was right. I forget what state he was living in, and he was an abolition against slavery. But he was he was a Virginia. That's what. I think it was Virginia, and he was against slavery on his state only, because he didn't want the risk to come to his state. So he was helping some black folks in his state try to escape, because he didn't want the shit. He didn't want the shit to come down in where he was living. But he was never going on in the country helping fucking black people. We need to get the story right.
Right.
Because when white people are telling us with the cases, right, we're going to get it from a different perspective. So between Jane Elliott and John Brown, oh man, white people and them was it was like, hey, there's some good white folks there.
Okay, so look, now I just looked him up. John Brown, it says, was born in Torrington, Connecticut on May 9th, 1800, and to a deeply religious family. The family was led by a staunchly anti-slavery father, Owen Brown, who was an agent for the Underground Railroad. See, that's how they put it into context. So you're saying the only reason he did that was for his own benefit and his own gain. It had nothing to do with, right. Okay.
And I'm telling you, listen, the gist of it, he didn't want slavery to come to the state. He was after it. That's the only reason why he was against it. And people in them need to know the history behind John Brown. He wasn't no guy who was against slavery. He was against slavery coming to his state. He didn't want the shit to come down in his state, so he was trying to avoid that as much as possible. So we need to know the whole narrative behind John Brown before black people start picking up a mantle over cases. Like, you know what I mean?
All right.
And when you look at Bernie Sanders, right? I just want to contrast a little bit. His little old cracker ass. I mean, just because he get beat up, in the civil rights movement, I mean, all of a sudden he got a fucking ass. He got a. You know how much fucking shit he did against black people? You know how much. You know that he signed for black people, for Jewish people to still reparations for something that happened over in Europe, but don't even want to talk when bring up the reparations talk for black people, right? So all of a sudden he get a pass because he get beat up. When the last time you see Bernie Sanders did anything for black people?
Look, this is crazy.
That civil rights movement say, I get beat up. So what?
Look,
all of us will get black people So what? You want a fucking you want a cookie for that? What? You want a fucking fries?
I'm gonna read this to you real quick. It says, I'm going back to John Brown. It said he moved, and you're right, he did have some dealings in Virginia. It said Brown moved back east and began planning and fundraising for a slave insurrection that he would lead. It says October 16th, 1859, he and 21 men raided the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry in Virginia on the theory that slaves would rise up against their masters when word spread of Brown's actions. Although Brown gained control of the arsenal, the slave rebellion failed to materialize. Brown's rebellion was swiftly crushed when U.S. Army Colonel Robert E. Lee and 100 Marines surrounded him. Brown was captured, quickly tried, and convicted of treason. He was hanged on December 2nd, 1859. Now listen to this. 1859. Let me tell you something about the year. Hold on. 18. No, let me get to that. 1859. I'm just telling you, my daddy was born in 1959. That's only 100 years from my daddy that's still alive. So when people try to put these things into perspective and context, they always want to tell us, oh, that was so long ago. You know, we're so past that. This is 2019. That was not that long ago. But go ahead with Robert E. Lee, because I'm not familiar with him, but I've heard of his name.
Well, okay, well, you live down south and you know about the statue was being moved. Robert E. Lee was a Confederate general in the Civil War.
Okay.
All those statues that these classes in them were born and about was being torn up in the Confederate States. One of the statues was Robert E. Lee's statue.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna tell you another thing. Virginia is a big advocate of all those statues of the Confederate soldiers. Trust me and believe when I tell you, when you ride through there, I think Patterson Avenue, they have statues of all these men standing up still today. They sure do.
Yeah, I know. And these are the people who committed treason against America. The same people who allowed to still fly a flag that committed treason. That's the biggest crime you could commit against a country. But you gotta remember, these are white people against white people. So at the end of the day, hey, it's water under the bridge here. Right? No, nothing to see here, right? And that's how you can tell you, and that can tell you that, hey, they can fight among each other, which they have been for thousands of years. But when coming to oppress people who doesn't look like them, they will put all that aside and say, yo, let me give you a hug, okay? Let me join the flag together and everything will be okay. Yeah. I mean, I know you try to, I know you committed treason, but you know what though? That was long ago.
Right.
So let me just bury the hatchet over cases. This,
right.
These are what we're dealing with, man.
Right. So, I mean, it's crazy because a lot of the people we don't even realize that we work for at these corporations are related to some of these people who probably did enslave some of our people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
The only white man I trust is a dead gun. I never see it fucking taken out. I never see it was violent any terms.
Philando Castro.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Philando Castro.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, no, let me tell you why white people be bullshitting. You go abuse some of dogs right now. You go starve some dogs and have the dogs rip fucking showing, or you go beat up some dogs, and you will see white people will come out in the thousands with signs saying this is wrong.
Yes.
You can't put it to animals.
Yes.
So how come when black people clearly being killed or executed and lynched on the street and come together and work with it, how come we don't see these good white folks we keep hearing about? Sentiment of saying, yo, you can't do this. Yo, these Negroes come to my department store. They come. Yo, you can't treat them like this. How come they don't have the same sentiment? But yeah, kill one of the fucking animals now, abuse one of the animals now. You see white people come out in abundance.
Let me. Oh, so since you brought up dogs, my mother was telling me about this story that she heard about earlier. Did you hear about the guy?
Yeah, hold on a second, hold on.
I was just gonna tell you real briefly about this guy. It says he was kicked off a flight. He was melanated, of course, so a dog could fly first class. This just happened September the 3rd. I don't know if you heard about it. Dana Holcomb, 53, is suing American Airlines for racial discrimination following the incident on a flight from Las Vegas to Austin, Texas in April. He said he bought a first-class ticket home after celebrating his birthday in Las Vegas and had a connecting flight to Phoenix, Arizona. He boarded the plane and learned he was seated next to a woman traveling with a support dog, which was an issue because he's allergic to dogs. So he began suffering from allergic reaction within minutes of boarding the plane. The woman offered to switch seats with others in the first class section, but no one on the plane volunteered, which is when a flight attendant and a pilot got involved. It says that at that point, workers told him, "You're going to go to the rear of the plane or get off the plane." Holcomb said that the pilot became irate, and another passenger eventually offered to switch seats, but the pilot instead called security on him. American Airlines security removed Holcomb from the plane, but left his baggage containing his medication on board, standing him in Phoenix overnight. So now they left his medication. He didn't even know he had time or took the time to take his bags off the plane. American Airlines has since issued a statement claiming Holcomb became confrontational, which they said led to his removal, but some witnesses on the flight disagreed. According to the lawsuit, 2 passengers have made sworn statements supporting Holcomb in the version of events. You see that? He has witnesses and said they heard the pilot.
But they don't care about that though. You have to, because you got to remember, this is a white supremacy system we're living in, and of course you're gonna have white people say I'm white and I said so, right? That's sentiment. I'm white and I said so. Who cares about the witnesses? I mean, you only care about witnesses when they're gonna benefit from it. But when we're gonna benefit, oh come on, no, that doesn't really matter because they're gonna have their own narrative.
Not only witness, to make out that camera.
I know, great conversation. I know we always do. So when you come up, we gotta touch on Robert.